And here we go. All right, hey guys. Yeah, my name's Alan. I'm the outreach director for ASME, American Society for Mechanical Engineer. Yeah, it's a long name, but anyway, yeah. So the purpose I'm doing this meeting is just to see, basically sort of outreach to other RSOs on campus, especially engineering wise. I've done similar podcasts with professors before. I was wondering, maybe it might be interesting if people outside of U of I can see what students living, in U of I, what's our life basically like, what's our stories. So yeah, can you guys give me a quick self intro, your name, where you're from, school year, what's your major? I would assume, nuclear engineering, but yeah, what's your role in the RSO? We can start with Natalie.
Sure. Hi, I'm Natalie. Let's see, I grew up in the Minneapolis suburbs.
Nice.
So I'm a grad student right now. So I did my undergrad at the University of Wisconsin, where I majored in nuclear engineering. And now I'm here for grad school. It's my second year in grad school. So in the nuclear department here, we have two nuclear related RSOs, American Nuclear Society and Women in Nuclear. So I am the outreach chair of the Women in Nuclear chapter here.
Awesome. Next one, David.
All right, I'm David. I am a junior in nuclear engineering. My concentration is plasma fusion sciences. I'm from the Chicago suburbs. For ANS, which is the other RSO other than Natalie mentioned, I am the social chair. So my job is to make sure we are being social.
Awesome. Dylan.
Hello, yeah, I'm Dylan. I'm a junior in MPRE, and I am also concentrating in plasma diffusion science. I am the outreach chair in the American Nuclear Society chapter, and so that we've been dealing a lot with like outreach to like the public, talking about like nuclear science as opposed to like as much. It seems like your outreach is like to other like RSOs, or you said this was going to like other people outside. Sorry. Anyways.
We're just trying new things in the COVID time.
This is fun, yeah. And I don't know if I said this, but I'm from Columbia, Missouri.
So. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And Cassandra.
Hi, I'm Cassandra Soto. I'm the co-president of Women in Nuclear. I'm a sophomore currently in the Power, Safety, and the Environment track in NPRE. Yeah. Cool. I forgot what else there was.
Oh yeah, it's like what's your role in the RSO? I mean, co-president or
co-president.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, sorry. What did you mention your school year?
Yeah, I'm a sophomore.
Oh yeah, nice. Okay, so nuclear engineering. What's the full name for your major? Because I'm sorry, nuclear engineering is sort of like, we all know you guys existed, but we don't really know what you guys learn or what you guys do in the school. And it's like one of the rare breed in the engineering school. It's so rare to find nuclear engineers out there.
Yeah, so the full name is Nuclear Plasma and Radiological Engineering. We shortened it to NPRE.
NPRE, awesome. So why do you guys choose it?
I guess I'll go first. I was originally going to do engineering physics here, but I have a cousin who works at a nuclear power plant, and one day I was just hanging out with him, and he just starts talking to me about all this nuclear physics, and it was way above my head, but I thought it sounded so cool, and all this environmental impact, and it's like, oh, this is something that's meaningful for today and going in the future, and I fell in love with it pretty much during the time it took us to go shopping. So over a couple hours, and then I changed what I was applying here for.
That was right before you applied to your major here? Or?
Yeah, so if like applications here were senior year of high school, like first semester, it was like a couple months before that.
That's amazing. Anyone else? Like, why did you choose NPRE?
I can go. So I used to be a Boy Scout, and so I was like super like camping and like hiking and shit. And it's like very like out. I'm like very into the outdoors, but I am also like super into math and physics, and so I didn't initially know where those two like intersected. There wasn't like a clear like using math and physics to explicitly help the environment. And so I wasn't exactly sure what I was going into, but then my high school physics teacher actually ended up, he used to be a nuclear engineer, and so he like kind of talked about how like nuclear power plants is like super clean energy. There's a lot of power that comes from it. Like over 50% of Illinois' electricity itself comes from nuclear, and so that's a huge impact that nuclear power has on the environment. That's like a very direct thing that I could help out on in terms of like my future like job or whatever. So I thought that was cool.
That's cool. I did not know that over 50% of electricity in Illinois come from nuclear. That's that's amazing.
Illinois is super on top of it. They have like 11. No, there's 6 power plants and then 11 reactors. And actually, Cassandra would know more about this because she's interned at the at Exelon. So yeah.
Cassandra, can you talk about your internship experience and the major?
Yeah. Okay. So initially, I chose nuclear engineering because we had like this tiny little unit in like my sophomore chemistry class in high school, and I was like, that seems super dope. And then I watched like the Chernobyl HBO docuseries or whatever.
That was like one of my favorite shows. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, so I saw that special, and then I was like, this seems pretty cool. And then I like kind of studied more about it just on my own over the summer, going into junior year, and then senior year, I was like, this seems like something that I can really do. And I knew I wanted to go into engineering because I knew that like the science field needed more voices like mine. As a Hispanic woman, I just knew that we were underrepresented in any field, and I knew that this was a small one, so probably especially in this one. So I kind of jumped on top of it. And so far, I've been getting super involved to try to get the most out of it that I can. So one of the things that I did was within 3 weeks of being in college, I got an internship, having known pretty much nothing. Like, and I feel like even now I still know pretty much nothing, but I know more after that internship. So I kind of just went into it with like a bunch of charisma, just like eager to learn. I did a lot of research the day before my interview, and they knew that I had no idea what I was talking about, but I was just so enthusiastic about it. They were like, we gotta have her. So I had an internship after my freshman year, which is very rare. I had a great time. Absolutely. I worked in the corporate office virtually because of COVID. And this summer, I am virtually working for a power plant. Wow. So they just keep coming back to me. Thank God.
You got the charisma. So
yeah, it's just if you have the energy, they want you there.
That's absolutely amazing. You could give me some tips on, nail those interviews.
I mean, I was just sweating buckets. I was just saying so many words so fast, and they just loved it. And once I was in, I was in.
Wow. Amazing. Natalie?
Yeah. I also kind of stumbled into nuclear engineering. I started college. I just knew I wanted to do something with math and physics. So I was like, decided engineering for my first couple years of college, and just kind of happened to take the introductory nuclear engineering class. I think it was the fall of my junior year. So I kind of needed to pick a major at that point anyway.
Oh.
But I made some friends in the class, and they seemed like nice, smart people. And I learned more about how like nuclear power is clean and safe and reliable. And I also cared about the environment, and climate change is, I think, the biggest problem our generation is going to face, or one of them. Kind of like Dylan said, though, when you like start looking into studying environment or climate stuff, it's not necessarily super like math and physics heavy, which is what I wanted. When you get into nuclear engineering, it's like all the math, all the physics, and I loved it. And it was like, you can do math and do something good for the planet.
That's cool.
I'm such a dork.
So this is one thing I wonder, like, what are you guys sort of flow chart looks like? Because like EC have their one of the their infamous class that everyone have to just get on, pass it. And Mackie, we have like those classes you just have to take it and just get on. Like, what are some of the famous, infamous class that notorious class out there in in your that you have to take, no matter like what your concentration on?
hit the rest of you guys who are.
I feel particularly entitled to talk about this because I have the unholy trinity this semester. It's the first plasma physics class. Everyone has to take it, but since I'm in plasma, it's actually important for me. So like Cassandra will take it too, but for her, it's just kind of math and physics. She's just gonna learn and probably forget about. It's neutron diffusion, which is very, very heavy differential equations based and a lot of coding, and I am bad at both of those things, so it's rough. And then I'm in 2 other NPRE classes, one of which is just kind of like quantum mechanics for how stuff interacts, and radiation lab. So like those together are pretty bad, but particularly the plasma physics lab, or the plasma physics class, neutron diffusion, and the lab are considered like an unholy trinity of just, it's a lot of work and you have to stay on top of it. And it's in the curriculum as like, oh, your junior year spring semester is going to be really rough. You just got to get through it.
Wow. So when you mentioned like quantum mechanics, because one of the worst class I've taken in UofI as undergrad was probably Physics 213, like Introduction to Quantum Physics. It's just so poorly structured in a way that I don't really understand what's going on concept wise or anything. Like at the beginning it was easy, it's just light and stuff, but then it went from 0 to 100 really quick, and everyone's kind of lost track. I remember, like, I think there was like 200 people taking that class, and then like 1 or 2 people got A at the end. So are your classes like even on top of that, build on that base and then keep on going, into like deeper field of quantum mechanics? Or
Yeah, so Dylan can talk about this too, but it's basically 214 on steroids so far.
214 on steroids, but the professor is so lovely. Like he's so good. And then the other thing is, so like it's a smaller class. Actually, I will say the quantum mechanics class he's talking about is the largest course in our department because it involves the second semester juniors, but then it's also required for any grad student who comes here for MPRE. So it's 447 for undergrads, but then 521 for grad students. And so there ends up being around 50 people in the course, which again is like our largest course. But it's like a smaller department, so he can see the grades and be like, okay, I can scale these up or down depending on how well the students are doing. The 521 students, the grad students, aren't compared against the 447 students. Like those people are compared separately. And it is just like it's a lot of differential equations with the quantum mechanics, I think. Like it's you have the Schrodinger equation, but then you actually go into the diffie-cube part of it. So it is like rough, but A, professor makes it nice, and B, compared to the other courses that you're taking that semester, like David said, it's not so bad.
It is by far my easiest class.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Dang. Cassandra, you're a sophomore, right? So have you taken some of these classes that you find challenging yet, or you're about to, or?
Okay, so I'm a spring sophomore right now. So right now I'm in like the introduction NPRE classes. So I've taken like the 199 seminar or whatever, which is just like fun stuff. And then I took 201, which was also fun stuff for people that are like not even in the major, but I took it just to like get exposed more. And right now I'm in 247, which is like the sophomore intro class, but some freshmen are in it that are ahead. So it's basically just like the introductory stuff where you kind of review everything that you should already know and then go a little bit deeper and more specific and get exposed to like more coding. So right now it's just like very much dipping your toes into the water. It's not that crazy.
Yeah, they just lure you in first. Make sure you're interested and you can't quit anymore.
Yeah, and it helps you know the people that are in your grade too.
That's true.
Like your peers.
It is a small department, right?
Yeah, it's pretty small. There's I think 36 people in my year. 6 of those are girls. As long as everybody stayed.
As long as everybody stayed. I do wonder, like, how many people go participate in grad school after they graduate from undergrad?
For plasma, it's very high. So for plasma track, so Dylan and I, we both work at the Center for Plasma Material Interactions. It's a research lab. And most of the grad students at CPMI are people who did undergrad here for plasma. I'm not going to use the word mandatory, but it's pretty much expected that if you're in the plasma concentration, you end up doing grad school. And because of that, there's a significant number of grad students here for our concentration.
Yeah. So nuclear plasma and radiological engineering. We're only ABET accredited for nuclear engineering. Like, there's not ABET accreditation for plasma and radiological engineering. So the majority of the major focuses on nuclear engineering. We all get like accredited for that. And then that amount of technical elective hours that you use to dive into your concentration. And so plasma kids and radiological kids only have that set amount of technical electives that they've invested in their plasma courses. So I'll have taken through the department probably like 3 plasma courses, which if I want to go on to do plasma stuff after I'm done with my education, only 3 plasma courses isn't necessarily enough.
Wow.
And so it's good to at least get that extra master's, so then you can spend like a lot of your time doing plasma stuff. But again, it's from a plasma point of view.
Cool. So what's the equivalence of, in grad school? I guess this question is specific for Natalie, since you're the only grad student here. So what's it like being like a grad student in the major? What's your daily life sort of like, your classes and research and stuff?
Yeah, as a grad student, you take fewer classes per semester generally, because you are supposed to split your time with classes and research. So in a lot of ways, I have more free time than I did as an undergrad, or at least my schedule has a lot more open time, but I have to spend that time, working on my research. But I don't have as many like this class has to be at this time kind of things in my schedule, which has been a bit of a challenge sometimes, like I don't have any classes or meetings today. I can just be lazy, but you shouldn't be lazy.
Especially in COVID time. Where you're just at home.
Yeah. So that's been an adjustment for me between undergrad and grad. As someone who is doing grad school at a different university from where I did my undergrad, no one tells you anything when you're a new grad student. Like, you don't get a tour of campus or anything. Yeah. I didn't know that I had a mailbox until several months into my first semester here. I've only been in a few buildings on campus. I still don't know where a lot of things are outside of the engineering area of campus. So that was kind of funny. Like, you just get thrown in. You have to figure it out.
Good luck
which is why I've been really grateful for the RSOs, ANS and WiN, because it's a really nice way to meet people. All the undergrads, what's a good place to eat on campus or whatever.
Yeah, speak of RSO, so can you guys give me a little description of your RSO, what do you guys do, and why did you choose your RSO? I guess we have 2 RSO here.
I can talk about WiN. So Women in Nuclear, we are pretty much like the sister chapter of ANS, where it's just a little bit more focused on gender equality and promoting women in the field. And we also want to promote the knowledge about nuclear to all kinds of people, whether that's like the surrounding communities or whether that's like within U of I itself. But mostly just like promoting women in the industry. And that's why we have people from all genders in our organization, because you can be an ally as well.
Nice.
Yeah, and then American Nuclear Society, it's kind of your general RSO affiliated with department organization. So we do professional development stuff. We do a lot of outreach stuff, which again, so I'm outreach chair. So I said 55% of Washington City in Illinois is produced by nuclear plants. As of right now, it's kind of on the line because 2 of them are set to close down. So we're on a big campaign right now to try to talk to representatives to try to stop that from happening. So we actually put together, like pretty much all student ran a webinar for like Illinois representatives. We called all 177 of them to host this webinar with people from with like like labor union people, like the senators who are also speaking, like the ANS president, like a huge organization, but like that type of stuff. I kind of just wanted to brag about it because also it's very cool that we did that. But that's happening. Outreach, like I said earlier, just to like other people, Boy Scouts, people on the quad, we sometimes have a booth, and then social stuff as well. Just to like create a vibe of good vibes for like the department. Here, the people you're going to go through your university for with like good to network, good to know people, make your college easy as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in that regard, sounds quite similar to SME, just way it basically functions. Cool. So yeah, so originally this meeting was supposed to happen last Wednesday, and when I was writing down the questions, I realized that last Wednesday was the day that Chancellor Jones sent out the email saying no instruction, for the rest of the 2020 semester, 2020 spring. Yeah. So it's about 1 year since COVID happened. My question, I guess, would be, what have you guys done for the past year? How's online school treating you, especially in your major? What's the difference? What doesn't really fall into your expectancy? What's kind of surprising you throughout the year?
It's definitely been rough. So last spring was the first time I had a pretty challenging schedule. So I put a lot of work into making sure my work ethic is good. There was I was going to Talbot, so the nuclear engineering building. I was there every day. I was trying to get as much time out of my dorm and away from my gaming computer as I could to make sure I'm focusing. And then we get an email saying, "Hey, you're going to be online for the last 8 weeks of semester," and that kind of turned that on its head. And then we've been online since, and it hasn't gotten easier. It's probably gotten harder because of burnout. But then going into that, I'm also the social chair for ANS, so it's very hard to try to organize social events when we can't meet in person and can't do things that I would like. Normally we'd have a lot of in-person events, we'd be on the quad, so I've been especially trying to put a lot of energy into making sure we're staying social because we kind of all need it.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, we definitely do need it, especially in these non-instructional days.
Yeah, I just want to kind of piggyback off of that. Like, it's been pretty not great. Obviously, for me, especially for like lots of people, it's not the preferred method of teaching. Especially this semester, I've seen like it really affect me because I am in one of my first like big lab courses, and my lab course is to be in a computer lab and just be able to like go in there whenever I need to, have like dual screens, like set up, have a computer that has a processing power to just be running all this data, and just be able to work in the lab report whenever I need to. But like David said, Talbot's only open on the weekdays now, and it's like you have to have access to get in there. And so like I'm also working at the plasma lab a lot, and then I have my courses. And then if I'm not in Talbot by 5 p.m. on a weekday, then I don't have access to Talbot to work on my lab report from Talbot. So then I have to work from home, which is just less optimal. So that's the way it specifically affected me. Yeah.
I know that for when it was a little hard, at first, like when we all got the email, we tried to make it as fun as possible. We had like a movie night and we had like trivia game nights on Zoom. And we tried to just like be there for each other. But at the time, our president was in Singapore. So that was kind of the worst in terms of timing.
Time zone, yeah.
Yeah. So it was really hard for all of us to get together because we did have so many international students that were a part of the RSO. So they kind of got disconnected and they haven't been able to participate as much because of the timing issue. And I know that we miss a lot of them even now, because a lot of the people that were involved and like everybody was friends with like a lot of the international students. So that kind of was a really big hit to our organization. And we've been trying to keep it as active as possible online, but we have had some drop off, like all RSOs, because sometimes people just like get in a rut and they don't even want to log on to a Zoom for an RSO.
You lose all the motivations, which I mean, I kind of understand. It just happens.
Yeah.
When you're at your comfort zone at home, it's just comfortable. You don't really want to do anything.
Yeah, I get it. Like, even as co-president, sometimes it's hard for me to be like, yeah, we're having a meeting this week. Like, I'll organize something right now.
Yeah.
But we're all doing our best, I think, to be there for each other socially and to help like keep progressing forward academically, and to do like outreach events and professional development events, to have like people come talk to us about stuff that's actually interesting. It's been hard for outreach because usually we would go to like the Champaign Public Library and talk to the little kids, but we did like a webinar where we did kind of like a mini lecture with like trivia questions for them, which was really nice. So we've been doing our best, but it's been quite difficult, as can be expected.
And Natalie?
Yeah, I think Cassandra said a lot of it. Yeah, we've seen like just less engagement. We used to get a good number of people coming to our meetings every week because we had there's a student lounge area in Talbot. So like a lot of people would just be there hanging out anyway. So then they would, sure, I'll join your meeting. And we had a lot more people engaged in our events last year. And then, yeah, it's hard to motivate yourself to join another Zoom call in the evening after you've been working at home all day.
That's true. I mean, there's just so many distractions at home, and
yeah,
especially when if someone is in a different time zone. I have to wake up like 7 or 6 a.m. just to join some of the meetings. Yeah, I definitely lose all the motivation.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that also covered the question for how do you guys handle your role? Yeah. Do you see if, let's say, if you know this is gonna happen when COVID happened, would you guys do anything differently?
Is the question like how would we prepare?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I'm not sure. It was such an unprecedented situation. I don't know.
I would have gotten a new computer way sooner. That's what I would have done.
I would have built my
desk chair.
Yeah. I would have built my computer way sooner too. I was working with something that was a little bit older last year. But yeah, I mean, this was not something you could prepare for. And I went into this semester thinking like, third semester of online schooling, I got this covered. I know how this operates. And by week 6, I was like, man, this really sucks.
Yeah, you really burn out. Yeah, have you had anyone that your friends or your roommates that got COVID that kind of also influenced your schedule? Because that happened to me a lot over the past years. 4 of my 6 roommates all got COVID throughout different time, and whenever I'm planning on things like, oh, I guys can't show up in the meeting anymore because one of my friends got COVID and I'm exposed. I have to stay at home, and it definitely mentally destroy you to some extent.
I know that our co-president had COVID, so the other co-president, not me. So that was a little interesting to deal with, but like we were already isolating so much at that point because like once we left, we kind of never got back together until like this semester is when we started like engaging more. But up until recently, like there hasn't really been the situation for anything to like happen or spread. But I just know that it was hard to like plan and maneuver things when that was happening.
Yeah.
The only thing that happened to me, my roommate right before Thanksgiving break had a COVID scare. So like she had gone home for the weekend, and then when she came back, somebody she had hung out with over the weekend positive. So I already wasn't too sure if I was going to go home for Thanksgiving break, but then I was like, okay, this not going home for Thanksgiving break. And then right before, I did go home for winter break afterwards, and right before I was supposed to leave on a certain day, and the day before I was supposed to leave back to Champaign, my sister tested positive. And so I quarantined pretty much like right up until before classes started, and even when classes started, I still didn't have like the 2 tests that I needed, and that threw a wrench in the beginning of the semester. But it's through that, like it has been pretty safe, pretty isolated. Vaccines have been coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
things happen.
Yeah, the situation seems to be a little bit more and more in control recently. Yeah, less and less people I know start getting COVID, but that kind of also because they already got COVID before. So, yeah, yeah, I guess just to a further extent, if you know what college is like outside of COVID, if you know what college is like, what your major's like, what would you do sort of differently if you get a chance to attend U of I again as a freshman? I guess for Natalie, it's like as a new grad student.
I would have gone to every single thing ever. I was very involved, but I would never have been in my dorm room. I was like at every party. I was at every RSO event, joining. I was in like 5 RSOs my first semester.
Oh my gosh.
So I was losing my mind, but it was fun, and I would have kept doing it. The second semester, I was like, I'm gonna take it easy. College is gonna be here. Nothing's gonna happen. Like me naively, I was just like, nothing's gonna change. I'm always gonna have access to this stuff for the next like 4 years.
Yeah.
I can take it easy my second semester and kind of dial it back with my engagement. And I regret it so much because now the only thing I do to leave my stupid apartment is go to my job where nobody's there because I work in the union.
Oh my god.
So I would have gone to way more stuff. Just like pedal to the metal, full throttle, do everything. I miss it so much. Also, I'm an extroverted person, so like this is hurting me.
Yeah, I didn't even join ANS until my sophomore year. I joined ANS effectively with Cassandra. We hung out. It was like one of my first ANS events was one of her first. So I definitely would have been way more involved with the RSO my freshman year. I had some friends, Dylan Chief among them, actually saying like, "Oh, join ANS," and they did a happy hour at a bar every Friday. So like all the other graduates kind of hang out, maybe shoot some pool. And I was like, no, I don't really want to go. I was just reluctant. And then now I'm the social chair, and so now I'm the one who's trying to get everyone else to come hang out, even though happy hour is now over Zoom.
Yeah.
But I desperately miss being able to do everything in person, and I hate that I only got 1.5 semesters of that. So like same boat as Cassandra, because my freshman year I didn't do anything, and I 100% would have joined ANS sooner. I would have joined WiN. I probably would have joined some other RSOs. I'm also a very extroverted person, and I don't do well in isolation, having to hang out with people over Zoom. So
yeah, it's just different. Over Zoom, in person, it's just different. Dylan, Natalie, what you guys want to maybe do a little bit differently?
From a grad student perspective, you have some power to choose your research topic, right? You have to find an advisor who's doing a similar thing, but you kind of get to choose your research project to an extent. And I felt so much pressure about finding the right project and finding the right advisor. And it really stressed me out my first semester of grad school. I think something I've realized recently is I was feeling like I needed to like have my life plan all figured out, and I needed to know what I want to do and then find the research project that is perfect for that. I think I've realized recently that's not always how it works. Maybe for some people that's how it works, but it's okay to just pick something that seems interesting to you at the time and go with it. And if your interests change later, that's okay. So I wish I would have not stressed out so much about finding the right project and advisor.
Cool.
Okay, I think Cassandra and David kind of covered what I was thinking. Yeah, I'm just like happy hour. So other undergrads, we also have happy hour with like professors, and so like hanging out with professors at happy hour is also so cool because you also get to like network with your professors and see that they're also chill people, and that's kind of what I miss. And then what would I do differently? I think just stay organized. I wasn't great at organization before the pandemic hit, and the pandemic did not help with that. So I think if I had gotten on top of that earlier, then it would have helped me out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, most of you guys are still going to grad school, so I guess you can use that you to do that differently a little bit when you maybe don't get too stressed and just relax. I know at the same time try to make as much friends and get to know people. So I guess that's coming to my last question, at least the last question on the list. Favorite story about U of I, favorite hangouts, like hangout spots and favorite restaurants. Basically, what do you like the most in U of I?
Restaurant, going ahead and just gonna say it, Bangkok Thai, 100%.
Bangkok Thai. Okay. Have you tried basil Thai yet?
No.
You gotta try that one because I think I figure like Bangkok Thai is like that go-to spot for everyone who first get into like Thai food. I mean, they have great pad Thai and fried rice, but if you want to try like really Thai dishes, basil Thai is a great spot.
It does help that I live on the same block, so
That's
it's very
true,
easy
yeah.
for me to be like, oh, I need to eat in the next 20 minutes. I want food in front of me. I call ahead, say I want yellow curry, and it's ready for me in 10 minutes.
Nice. That's amazing.
Gotta drop that. Actual restaurant, Seven Saints is incredible.
Really, I've never been there. I mean,
yeah.
I've seen it before, but never been there.
It's
What do they have, like bars?
down. There's a big bar section. I've only been there during COVID, so I can't actually go inside and see the bar. But there's a lot of sandwiches, salads, just like very chill place. Outdoor seating is really nice. Those are my two go-tos, for food that I need right now, and one for food that I want to actually enjoy.
Yeah.
My go-to place recently, like especially this semester, has been Kung Fu Tea, because I'm really getting into boba recently, and it's like a good lean into that. And they also have sushi burritos and poke bowls, which are super lit. So that's like the kind of food vibes that I've been getting into. But like favorite place to hang out, just like in general, pre-COVID, I would always be in the Union, just like finding different things to do, always trying to find like a different room. It helped that I worked there, so like I had special access to certain rooms.
That's nice.
But
yeah.
I figured out like it was a fun place once you like looked beyond the stuffiness of like the front entrance. It's pretty cool.
That's like one thing that me and my pals were just like, what do people that hang out in the Union do? Like, what are they majors and stuff? Like they seem like enjoying their life every day in the Union. Like I don't understand, but
Only
I guess
go
like
there for
after a
Blaze
while,
Pizza.
Yeah.
You go to the courtyard and it's really nice. Like during the day, they have,
True.
well, pre-COVID, they had like live music. Now I think like somebody's playing in another room. But it's just like there's sunlight coming in from like the windows on the ceiling, and then it's just like a good vibe. It's very
not
college.
the basement, right? The basement.
No,
is
not
just
the basement. The basement's a terrible place.
It's a different vibe there.
That I
Even
hate
though
the
they add a
basement.
piano there, like it just doesn't work.
No, I hate the basement. The basement's creepy. But the courtyard, it's beautiful, and I love sitting out on like the outdoor part, or the back part of the Union that looks over the whole quad. It's beautiful.
Yes.
So like getting to be there and like hang out with my friends and like just do some quiet studying, that was like my favorite place to be that wasn't a library.
I think that's also true thing about U of I is that you only have 60 days of nice weather, so you really appreciate those moments. In the winter, it's just dead outside. Yeah. Natalie, Dylan, favorite restaurants, favorite hanging out spot?
I don't know if I have a hangout spot really.
Not yet, or?
Yeah, not yet. As a grad student, I feel like I wasn't as connected to like campus life as undergrads are, maybe. So I feel like I didn't get to explore campus a ton before COVID hit. As for restaurants, I recently discovered a Japanese restaurant called Sakanaya on the street. Maybe there's other good Japanese spots too, but that's one I've found that is really good. I love their ramen.
Oh, if you like the ramen, have you tried the Ozu ramen?
No.
It's near. So it's actually very close. I think. Is it Sakanaya?
It's on 6.
It's
on
6.
6th. It's like on the. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
that place
Ozu
is
like a few days
expensive
ago.
though.
Yeah, they're a little bit pricey, but
I spent
But
like
yeah.
$26 on one meal.
Yeah, they're pretty pricey, but they're
Okay.
really good. Mhm.
Yeah, I should check it out.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Dylan?
Yeah, I guess what hasn't been said, like you gotta remember Maze, like
Oh yes.
spots in Champaign to eat.
They're also the restaurant that gave out free food at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah, so
very very respectful.
So cool of them, yeah, absolutely. And then like places to hang out, like absolutely Talbot Lounge. It's been mentioned a couple of times before.
Really?
But you could just like go in there, especially like near a test, like near a nuclear.
Where is this lounge? Because my building is at Talbot. Like for engineering mechanics, we're supposed to be at Talbot, but I never really go there because everyone's hanging out in MEL.
You say okay, so there's Aero and MPRE already in Talbot, and I've just learned engineering mechanics is also in Talbot. That's so good. That's great.
Talbot is the thing with the big press, right?
Yep.
Yeah, concrete pressure. So student lounge is floor 2, north
southwest corner.
Southwest corner.
Okay.
Is got my bag.
I got you.
Yeah.
Which floor?
Second floor.
Second floor. Okay.
Yeah. So especially like near a nuclear subject test, you could just like go in there at any time of the night, and you're like, "How you doing?" There's somebody.
You see someone else also struggling. You're like,
yeah, exactly. But it was also like even between classes, people just go in there to study, and it was just like, this is so good. I can just be here, vibe, like ask. Also, because there are a lot of times just people there. If you're in a nuclear class, you can be like, "Hi, you're an older person who is taking this nuclear.
Yeah.
Can you help me with it?" And like people are very kind. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I actually read a book before. The name is To Forgive Design, and it's written by one of our alumni, and in one of the chapters, he went in details on the Talbot building and his life, like his student life back there, and it was based on his description. It was a totally different building. We used to have big glass window on the side that towards the quad, and it was supposed to be all glass, and then people can see what's going on inside, and they will be making like the press testing, the material testing, and then before the testing start, they will have like alarm going on through the whole building just to tell people, yeah, the testing is gonna start, so it's gonna be like a loud noise around. But yeah, it's a very different building today.
I know that the girls' bathroom is just the men's bathroom with a piece of paper taped on it that says women.
Yeah.
So it's not my favorite building in the world.
It is
personally.
Yeah.
I think bathrooms have been renovated maybe since you got.
Yeah, I think
and it's
year
horrible.
they started renovating it.
I will say the guys' bathrooms got worse.
Yeah.
Like it looks nicer, like aesthetically it looks nicer, but we went from like 3 stalls and 3 urinals to 1 stall and 2 urinals. So I don't know.
And the spacing of them is horrible.
It's all spaced out. It's like we didn't need, like I appreciate it, but we didn't need it.
Yeah. Also, just beyond aero and EM and nuclear, I think Mackie and civil, they would have experiments in Talbot. So it's literally a building for everything.
Yeah, I had my ME310 lab Talbot. So I'd be in a computer lab and then like walk like 10 feet to get to the water room. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, they have the entire basement set up for just like hydraulics and water stuff. Because I was in the same class last semester, and I would do the same thing of like, oh, my lab starts at noon. All right, 11:30, I'll go hang out in the computer lab, maybe take a little nap, because we have it's a locked door that we get a key to our freshman year. So it's like I can be in there, and since no one else is coming to Talbot, I will be like alone for a solid half hour and then go to class. That is literally 40 feet away.
That's so amazing. It's just so different. Like at least for us engineers who use Talbot a lot, it's kind of different vibe compared to engineers who use ECEB or Everett or But yeah, that's all of my questions. I'll stop the. Thank you guys for participating. Spending your precious hour in this non-instruction day. I'll stop the recording now, and there we go.